Excellent. Thanks for joining today. I think we all know each other, but for the sake of all of our new friends here today, maybe let's just do a couple of quick intros, like 30 seconds each. Bob, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, good morning, everybody, or good day, wherever you are. So I'm Bob Mather. I'm responsible for Lean, Industry 4.0, and advanced manufacturing at Stanley Black & Decker, and ultimately have responsibility for our global operations transformation. So, given that we are, depending where you are in the world, how you're impacted with the pandemic, I hope everybody's well and safe today overall. And at Stanley Black & Decker, we're for those who make the world, and most of you, or if not all of you, are our customers. So even more happy to be here.
Thanks, Bob. Vincent.
Yes, thanks for having me. Vincent Higgins, I'm the Global Director of Digital Transformation and Industrial 4.0 at Honeywell. And the focus of our efforts at Honeywell, both internally and with our customers, is seeing Industry 4.0 and digital transformation from the lens of the worker. Worker excellence is really at the heart of what we're trying to do, and a little different approach than maybe some other companies in digital transformation.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, and from where I'm sitting right now, I can see an SBD product and a Honeywell product. So you weren't lying. I got a bunch of them too.
There you go.
So, just to kind of set the stage for what we want to talk about over the next 25 minutes or so, 5 years ago, and, when I got into this space like 8 or 9 years ago, so much of the focus for digital innovation within industrial operations was really focused on equipment, processes, scrap, quality, those kinds of use cases. And over the past 2 years, so much more has been invested in workforce enablement, and it was already happening before the pandemic. Obviously, the pandemic accelerated it, but it didn't start there. So that's what I really want to cover today, is just the use of emerging technologies to enhance the most important assets within our operations, which, of course, as we all know, is our people, right? So, I just want to open it up with this question, because this is something we've all spent a lot of time thinking about. I'd love to hear from you guys about some of the solutions that you rolled out, under the umbrella of workforce enablement to respond to the pandemic. And I'm sure that that's a lot of things. So who wants to jump in on that one?
I'll jump in just to give my 2 cents. Yeah. So obviously, the pandemic created a lot of issues, both in our factories around the world as well as with our customers. And I'll give one example from each. So internally, we had 2 large initiatives. One around hand sanitizer. We own and run a number of large chemical plants, and there was a huge need for hand sanitizer. So we, over just a few weeks' time, converted other types of chemical plants into hand sanitizer plants, and that required some digital tools that really made it possible, because a lot of folks couldn't travel on site. The experts couldn't be there. So one digital tool that we implemented was what we call our Intelligent Wearables. It's a tablet in a form factor of a wearable that you clip to your hard hat, and essentially gives you a video chat capability, with the front-facing camera, as well as digital workflow and data and documents at hand at the moment, because we had to do this work with a very reduced workforce in the field. That applied both to hand sanitizers, but also in transforming 2 of our large aerospace facilities that were doing jet engines into facilities for N95 mask production. And so this was in response to the pandemic, but very difficult to accomplish with these people not able to travel, experts not able to be on site, construction crews. So very quickly implemented these wearable technologies to be able to assess, build, and transform in 6 to 8 weeks some of these facilities to serve the needs of the pandemic.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'll add to that. I think very similar to Honeywell, we're essential business overall, and keeping our people safe was the key thing that we needed to move to very quick early on in the pandemic. And we needed a way to communicate to the 35,000+ people on our factory floors around the world, in addition to our offices. So one thing that we were able to implement was a technology called DeepHow, which would allow us to record videos and then use their AI engine to translate them. So early on in the pandemic, I was asked to be responsible for our response to COVID-19, and literally was creating safety videos and sharing information and being able to get that translated to 12 or 13 different languages in a matter of hours and get it out to the people on our factory floor, allowing us to get information to them as quickly as possible was really key. And then since then, we kept using that technology to do things like Vincent talked about, to document processes for standard work and to be able to supplement when you're not able to travel and communicate with people. And so that's been very powerful, and it's kept going within our organization. And I think now at this current point, a lot of what we're doing with the technology is around our skills. We've had a lot of people change jobs all over the world, and we've had to hire a lot of new people. There's not too many manufacturing companies that I know of right now that have enough labor right now. So bringing in labor and training them and understanding their skills. So we're working on piloting a software called Kahuna, which allows us to document skills and track our people, and shouldn't say that way, track our people's skills and document those skills so that we can know exactly what we need to, who we have working and what skills they have, and put people in the right places in our factories.
Just to continue what Bob was saying, imagine joining a company, not ever meeting an individual in real life for 6 to 8 months. I was in a sales meeting in the office here in Houston, met several people. That was the first experience they had in meeting another employee, and they'd been with the company for 9 months. And imagine the skills gap for technical skills. People think about the pandemic from the perspective of safety, which is really important. The need for skills and upskilling and reskilling is, to Bob's point, extremely important. And I think we've had a big hit in the industrial sector with regards skills, whether it's new people or transforming of people to new jobs. It's been quite, I think that impact, we're going to feel it for the next few years. It's a big deal.
Yeah, the people and technology have come together faster than ever before. It's required us to do that. So
yeah, let's go with that. That was something I wanted to come around to later in the discussion, but I think it's one of the key topics here that is really interesting, right? Is just this idea of skills, the skills gap and labor shortages within manufacturing, right? So depending on whose research you read, you can make up any number you want, but a lot of people are going to retire from the manufacturing workforce over the next decade or so, right? That's a fact, and it's an existential threat to U.S. manufacturing. It's globally, it's a huge problem, and you have this incoming generation that's really good at Instagram, not really good at industrial engineering, and it's like, how do you fill all those positions, right? So, I think, Bob, to use terms that you just used, like a shifting workforce, people changing jobs, people retiring, new people on the jobs. How does that kind of shifting or retiring workforce impact manufacturing operations, right? How does it create challenges? And then how are companies responding to this? I know we kind of hinted at some of the things you did as part of the pandemic response, but how does all of that address this overarching problem, or are there other things outside of the pandemic response that are relevant here?
I would say some of it's addressed with the technologies that we've used to roll out in our pandemic response. But you know, what you said it right. The amount of knowledge that is retiring from our workforce, you know, around the world it's a lot. It's impactful. So the best way is to document the knowledge as clear as possible. And we realize that, you know, I think everybody kind of uses that, almost that YouTube model for learning. If I want to fix something at home, I'll go to YouTube and watch a video on how to fix it and then go do it overall. So we've tried to adopt that internal kind of, call it YouTube or whatever you might, to document a lot of skills and knowledge of the key people in our organization, and then be able to share that with the next generation. So we actually are you know, putting a lot of these devices and cameras and various things in all of our facilities around the world, both offices and in factories, to help document the knowledge, and then creating our internal channel, you know, YouTube, so to speak, that where we can organize all this content and have it translated to multiple languages, and then use it to train the next generation and upskill the next generation as well.
And just to continue what Bob was saying, it is really about knowledge transfer, isn't it? It's how do you capture the knowledge of people before they retire, and then offer it at the right place at the right time for those that need it. And you know, we're talking about digital natives here, folks that the younger generation that wants the information. They don't want the training 8 months before that's forgotten. They want the information at the moment, on demand, when it's needed. And the key to these technologies is really to how do you capture that knowledge, and then how you deliver it at the moment, just in time. One of the things that Honeywell has invested heavily in over the last few years and launched at the end of 2020 has been a virtual reality platform. So it's a way to capture knowledge in a very structured way by building a digital twin of the facility or the plant. And so you create a photorealistic world of where these individuals spend their day. And you connect it to a back-end simulator that provides the logic, temperature, pressure, flow, you know, RPMs, whatever the technical work that they're doing, so that digital twin, the 3D digital twin, responds just like the real world experience would respond, and allows you, first of all, to collect the information that's retiring, put it into a structured framework, and then deliver it in a way which improves knowledge transfer. Because classroom learning and even e-learning studies show you get about 20 to 30% retention rate 3 months after you've taken the coursework. In live experiences or practice by doing, that retention rate goes to 80 to 90%, because you're codifying in sight and sound in a familiar environment what you would typically see in the workplace. As well, you can document how they do and actually benchmark and see where their skills gaps are through these types of simulations. And finally, it's a safe environment. So infrequent but critical tasks that pop up maybe every few years and only experienced workers would see can be practiced and rehearsed, and you get that muscle memory. So when you're in the panic of a moment where something goes really wrong, you've practiced it in another environment, and you're able to respond. That's what really, I think, what keeps executives up at night, is those things that can happen infrequently that inexperienced workers have never faced, and they are just at a loss when it comes time to deal with an issue.
Yeah, thanks, Vincent. So I just would like to say we made it to the 25-minute mark before anybody said digital twin. Just FYI. No, I like everything that we're hearing. One thing I forgot to do that I want to remind people to do: audience can submit Q&A at any point. So if there's a question that you want us to jump on, or you'd be interested to hear anybody respond to, feel free to put it in the Q&A box, or you can just do it in the Zoom chat. Those are both options. So Vincent, you made me think of something when you said towards the end, you know, it keeps senior leadership up at night to think about the situations that infrequently happen where somebody doesn't know how to deal with something. And so the first place that my head goes is safety incidents, right? And I think that a lack of knowledge or a misunderstanding of a certain procedure can, obviously lead to safety issues. And
absolutely,
obviously the pandemic completely recast the way that we all think about safety within industrial facilities. Before I came to Landmark, I worked for a consulting firm, and we were helping manufacturing companies with their digital operations strategy. And anytime we would start a new engagement, we would ask people, what are your top priorities that you want us to help you with? And everyone said safety, right? Because they were supposed to. And then nobody spent a lot of money or time on it, right? It was, how do I improve machine reliability? How do I improve quality? But over the last couple of years, we've really seen industrial companies pony up and not just start investing in safety strategically, like in terms of their time and the resources, but really spend money on technologies and approaches to improving safety. So how did the pandemic change the way that you guys look at safety and the way that you invest in safety solutions, or at least strategies, or look at the information around it? And obviously, it's not just about keeping people from getting COVID, right? There's a whole plethora of things. So I'd just be interested to hear how that's changed the way that you guys think about safety.
One thing I would say is that workforce resilience and the need to focus on the workforce was really amplified during COVID. Folks working at home, the resilience of the workforce at the desk. But I think deskless workers, where safety probably is paramount, right? More than at the desk, where you're dealing with machines and situations that either you could cause or you'd have to deal with. In both cases, situational awareness is an absolute key to success. And these technologies, I think more than ever before, I think companies and executives are investing in technologies that will provide greater situational awareness so that safety it becomes better addressed in the workplace.
Yeah, it's very similar overall at Stanley Black & Decker. We've always been very focused on safety, and it's just been amplified even more. And I think the use of technology within our safety area has been amplified. It started out with just putting sensors on people so you know whether you're within 6 feet of someone, and for contact tracing and things like that. And it's helped us realize that there's additional benefits from using technology, whether it's proximity or of a person, people to people, or a person to a forklift or PIV, various things like that. So now my dog's barking there, Isaac. So anyway, but that has really amplified our use of technology on our factory floor, more than ever.
Vincent, do you have a dog?
I don't. Sorry, okay. I can't chime in here with my with the audio.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's I think we saw almost every company that operates industrial facilities roll out distancing technologies of some sort over the pandemic, and that was just kind of tip of the iceberg. But now when we talk to any type of operational manager, not just EHS and safety leaders, it's really top of mind for people. And I think that like a lot of it used to be retroactive. You'd look at safety data, you'd hire a consultant, you'd try and do root cause analysis on what happened, but people are getting a lot more proactive about trying to predictively avoid safety issues within their operations. And I think a big part of it is the knowledge and skill stuff that you guys were talking about before. I mean, if everybody's prepared to operate machinery the right way and understands the SOPs in the plants, they're much less likely to get injured. I want to be cognizant of time. So there's one kind of big picture question I want to wrap with here, which is just really about culture and change management. I think everybody that's implementing digital transformation strategies at this point understands that the technology is the easy part. There's no dearth of good technical solutions in the market to solve most of the problems that you're trying to solve. The harder part is getting people to use and adopt them, right? Making people feel like these things are going to help them as opposed to, steal their jobs. So I guess just any advice or any thoughts that you guys have on how to optimize the change management and adoption process for digital technologies within industrial operations. We'd be keen to hear that, and then we'll wrap after this one.
It's a really tough question because we talk about digital transformation, which is an overarching effort to bring
Mhm.
data sets together and create new insights, and that's really big picture. And amazing things happen when you digitally transform. But there's something at a lower level called digitization, which is just transforming kind of paper-based or old school approaches to doing work into a digital form. And you can do that in pockets in manufacturing facilities and chemical plants. Those are first steps to it's one of the steps on the road to digital transformation. But to do it at scale, to digitally transform many processes, bring those processes together when you have different systems with different data sets that have to talk to one another. That's a much bigger job, and it is a big challenge. Many large companies are now naming chief digital officers for the first time because it's such a difficult task to scale some of these efforts that require first of all a lot of patience and time. So big companies, leaders in companies have to be patient. They can't give up. They have to be patient in terms of bringing these things together, and a lot of commitment to do that on behalf of everyone in leadership.
Yeah, our experience is very similar. The change management is so key in rolling out the digital technologies. I think the first and foremost is just having a stable management operating system on the factory floor, and then using, like Vincent said, some technologies to digitize those paper processes. I think it starts with working with the plant and all the people in the plant on building that digital mindset, and then I have to agree, pulling it together at the higher level is very difficult. We're in the process of building what we call our digital continuous improvement platform to pull all that data together and then be able to provide insights. It could be, pulling data from multiple different systems, a maintenance system, an OEE system, things like that. But then how do you provide insights that are going to allow you to use this digital technology and take it a step further and create value? But it all comes back to the readiness on the factory floor, and the change management is so important to success.
No, that's great. Thanks, guys. And I want to be cognizant of time to make sure that we stay on track here. But a lot of interesting stuff just about people, skills, safety, culture, change, which really is the root of transformation, not just connecting stuff to the internet and predictive analytics. So really, really insightful. Appreciate your time.